Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Mayor's Minutes. Yeah, that is a hat on my head, my giant jug head. Proudly representing the Methuen High School Rangers. They're doing great in all sports, girls basketball, boys basketball, you name it. Lots to be proud of in the city, and an outstanding school. Besides that, so I'd love to tell you I wear it just out of pride, but I also wear it to keep the dome warm, you know, so. A little colder outside than I anticipated. I saw the weather forecast, it said mid-30s. That feels like less than that out there, I don't know. And my special guest, I have two special guests today. I have the city clerk, Angelo. Welcome, Ann, to the show.
Thank you, Mayor.
And later on, we have Steve Angelo. We'll go over some exciting news on the rec front. And so this is an interesting time of year. We just had the New Hampshire presidential primary yesterday. And that was done. I won't say anything about it because I don't want to get in trouble. But, you know, Ann wanted to bring you on. But just a reminder before we go too far, I usually forget most weeks, but not this week. Remember that we've changed from Facebook Live to YouTube. And thank you, MCS, again, for all your support and help in doing this. There is a live chat feature on YouTube, and you can ask your questions. So tune in to the Methuen Community Studios YouTube channel and ask us your questions. And so I'm going to start with our first special guest, which is Andrew. And how long have you worked for the city of Methuen?
20 years.
20 years. 20 blissful years.
20 wonderful years, yes.
Yeah. And how long have you been the city clerk?
2 years.
And before that, you were?
I was the assistant clerk.
Assistant city clerk, yeah. So you were somebody who rose through the ranks, let's put it that way, right?
That's true.
And you did a great job.
Thank
and
you.
you still do a great job. So I don't want to make that past tense, right? I don't want this to be your performance review, right? So you're here for a very good cause, early voting information, right? And a lot about early voting that voters need to understand because some of the people are misunderstanding. But let's start by talking about the 2024 presidential primary early voting schedule.
Okay.
So, go ahead.
Thank you. So early voting this year is going to start on February 24th. It'll be a Saturday, which will be at the police station for the whole week. So the 24th at Sanborn Hall at the Methuen PD will be 9 to 3 on Saturday and Sunday. Saturday the 24th, Sunday the 25th, and it will be all through the following week, same location, 8:30 to 4:30, Monday through Friday. So if anybody wants to early vote, they don't want to wait in lines on election day, I would say come to Sanborn Hall and vote the week before. So.
Yeah. And there's the hours right there on the slide. And important to note that Friday, March 1st, where City Hall closes at noon, early voting will continue till 4:30 at Sanborn Hall. And by the way, the address for those of you that use MapQuest or something like that together is 90 Hampshire Street at the top of the slide. And we'll be there Saturday the 24th, as Ann said, through Friday, March 1st. And then that prepares for, I guess, what's Super Tuesday, right?
Exactly.
So,
and one other side note, Mayor,
yeah.
On the 24th, 9 to 3 will be at Sanborn Hall, but also at City Hall on the 24th is the last day to register to vote.
Okay.
So if somebody waits to the last minute, they can come to City Hall to register to vote, and those hours will be 8 to 5.
Okay.
There'll be 2 people there stationed at City Hall.
Excellent. And, you know, if they have questions and information, they can contact you at the Office of City Clerk at 978-983-8515, right?
Correct.
Okay. So now let's move on to, some of the stuff that's going on right now and what you're sending out
Sure.
to the residents and the response you're getting. I know we got some slides, but go ahead.
Okay. So probably about a week ago, the Secretary of State's office sent to all the registered voters in Methuen, it looks like a little postcard.
Right.
And on it, it'll say, if that's the back of it,
Yeah.
it'll say city clerk. So here's what it should look like. We blanked out the name of this individual.
Yeah.
So it'll say your name, and then on the right-hand side, it'll say what election that you want for this whole year. So for instance, if you want all elections, the primary in March, the state primary in September and the general election in November, you would check off all elections for the year.
Right.
If you only want one particular election, then you would check off that box. For instance, if like a lot of the snowbirds will fill it out and they're only going to be gone for the election in March.
Yep.
So they'll check off the presidential primary. Okay, so that's really important to fill out the card completely and sign it. A lot of the cards that we've been getting back haven't been completed.
Yeah.
So if you know that you've already filled out your card, sent it back to City Hall, and you didn't complete it, feel free to call, and we can make sure that everything's complete on your card. We have them all alphabetized by street, so it'll be easy for us to look you up that way, and we can also check our computer. And one other point of interest, too, is if you're an unenrolled voter, which means you're not enrolled in any party, you have to pick a ballot. You have to pick a Democratic ballot for the presidential, a Republican ballot, or a Libertarian ballot. So you have to choose in a primary if you're an unenrolled voter.
Okay.
If you're enrolled in a party already, if you're an enrolled Democrat, that'll be the ballot that you'll receive. And on your card, it won't even give you a choice because you're already enrolled in a party.
Right.
And the same for the state primary in September. If you're an unenrolled voter, you have to tell us again which party you want to take.
Yep.
So for, a lot of cards are coming in, all elections for the year, without a ballot being checked. So at this point, we do not know what you want.
Right.
Some people fill out their phone numbers. If they did fill out the phone numbers and it's on there, we will call them. But if there's not a phone number listed, we just write in the computer, no ballot will go out because they didn't pick a party.
Yep.
So, like I said, if you know that you've mailed your card back and it's not complete, please call us 978-983-8515, and we'll be happy to check it to make sure it's done correctly.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna recapture what you just said there because I think it's important. So if you mailed your card in and you didn't fill out entirely, it's not too late. You can call this number, the city clerk's office, and somebody will help you make sure that you get select which elections you want mail-in. This is all for mail-in right now. We're talking, right?
All mail-in.
Yeah. So which elections do you want the mail-in ballot for? Do you want it for just the primary in March? Do you want it for all the November general election, et cetera, et cetera? And you can pick that, but you have to tell us, and you also have to tell us which party ballot you want to see when you get it in the mail, right? Otherwise, if you stay unenrolled, and I say this as an unenrolled guy, you wouldn't know what ballot to send, right?
Exactly.
I mean, there's no way. So the other thing is, if you can go back MCS to the back of the card, So up there in the top left is some important information. So if you want to vote in the presidential primary on the 27th, you need to apply by February 27th, correct?
That's correct.
And I said February, but it's March 5th. I'm getting tangled in my.
The last day to apply is the 27th of February, and the election is March 5th.
Yep.
And also somebody called the office today and said, I don't want to vote by mail. You don't have to vote by mail.
Right.
It's just an option.
Right.
You still feel free to go to the polls on election day.
Right.
If you don't want to vote by mail, just disregard the card. You don't have to send it back, obviously.
Right. You can still vote in person.
You sure can.
Right.
Yep. So voting on election day will be 7 a.m. till 8 p.m.
8 p.m.
And if you're new to Methuen and you're not sure where you vote, feel free to call us and we'll tell you what school or the senior center is another voting location. So we'll be happy to assist with where you do go vote on March 5th.
Yeah, there's also this great tool on the state website, state registrars, where you can put in, you can check if you're a registered voter.
That's right.
And you can put in your name, and I think it asks you your zip code, and then it goes and looks, and comes back and it tells you, are you registered or not, right? And if you're not registered, it gives you the information on what you need to do to register. So we presented a couple things there. I want to make sure they're clear to the viewing audience. We presented, when you get the postcard regarding mail-in voting, it's important what Ann said. You do not have to vote by mail-in, right? That's an option.
It's an option.
Right? A second option is early voting, And that was the slide with the hours listed at 90 Hampshire Street.
That's correct.
At the police station. And so you have that. And then there's the third option that says you come and vote the traditional method. And all of those are valid options. And before somebody asks a question, I want to say only one vote per person. If you vote by mail-in when the time comes, or if you vote early, you're not going to be able to vote at the polls again, right?
It'll say on our iPads, it'll say already voted on
Right.
such and such a date.
Right.
So that's a great option with the iPads now.
Yeah. And so I noticed that you sent me a note today. It shows me a list of the poll workers
Yes.
for March 5th. And that's important, right?
There is. And also, Mayor, just to let the public know that on our website, we have an application. If anybody's interested in working the polls, feel free to fill out the application on the City of Methuen's website, and it'll come to me, and possibly we could be calling you for the March primary or down the road in September or November.
Yeah, and we wouldn't want you to wait for that because there is the poll pad training. So the iPads we use for the election now, the poll pad training, we like to make sure that everybody who's assigned a job at the polls has been through the poll pad training. And I sat through that training, if you remember,
Yes.
last year or the year before.
It was
Last year?
last year, I think.
Yeah. And I found it extremely well done. And I forget the name of the company. What's the name of the company?
LHS.
LHS. They do an excellent job training individuals to do the poll pad. And by the way, if you've worked at the polls before and you say, I could use a refresher, go to the poll pad training anyways, right? Because it helps out. Okay, so I want to, I deal with 3 times for the normal mind, so I'm going to say it again. So vote by mail. If we could go back to the card, MCS, the Quiero Votar. Yeah, it's in English and Spanish. And so I just want to point out, before you sign at the bottom, which this individual always did, on the top right are the elections that you check. Which ones do you want to vote by mail?
That's right.
And so you could say, I want to do the presidential primary by mail, but I want to do the general in person.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And those are options all available to you. Or you could check all 4. The state primary, the state election, all 2024 elections, right? And then a little bit further down is the spot where you can tell the city clerk and do her a great big favor by saying, you're going to vote Democratic, Republican, or Libertarian. And I should say, are you going to pull a ballot that's Democratic, Republican, or Libertarian, right? Because otherwise, if you send that back blank, city clerk's office has no idea what ballot to send you and can't send you a ballot for all intents and purposes. So looking for help there. And then if you flip the card to the other side, I just want to do one more time. So that application deadline, I want to hit it again, right? So if you're intending to vote in the presidential primary and you want to vote by mail, you got to get that back in by February 27th,
That's
right?
correct.
Okay. And then last but not least, I want to go back to the early voting. Thank you. MCS is way ahead of the stumbling mayor. So again, Saturday, February 20th. So if you're not voting by mail, you can vote early. And I don't know if I should, I voted early last time, and then my candidate dropped out. So that was a little disenfranchising for me, right? You can vote from Saturday, February 24th through Friday, March 1st at the Methuen Police Station, Sanborn Hall, 90 Hampshire Street, and the hours are listed there. They're also listed on the website, right?
Correct.
Right.
And on the Secretary of State's page as well.
Correct. And then you can register to vote up through Saturday, February 24th at City Hall, and we'll be at City Hall till 5 p.m. on Saturday, February 24th, and that gives you, a time to register so that you can vote in the presidential primary and beyond. So, as a personal appeal, I want to just say that the recent elections, the turnout has been abysmal.
That's
Let me not sugarcoat my words. Abysmal. When you have, how many registered voters do we have in Methuen? Do we know? Sorry to put you on the spot, but it's well over 10,000.
Oh, well over.
Yeah.
25?
25.
Yeah.
Okay. So you look at the last election, last mayoral election, and we had 6,000 people voting.
I think there's even more than 25 now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
So I think it's close to 30.
Yeah. So that's an abysmal rate, right? And so, I said this when I ran, people criticized me when I ran for mayor because I had not voted in local elections. That was true. That's no longer true. I now vote in them all the time because I've learned a painful lesson that to not speak your mind in local election is to not participate in the process and guide your representatives on what they're doing. I did vote on the state and the presidential elections, but take the opportunity, get your voice heard. Right, at the national, and so, there are people out there going to say, well, this is Massachusetts, it's not going to make, it matters. It matters, right? If you looked at how close the election was in Methuen last time, presidential, you would be stunned.
Right.
So get out and vote, right? And, voice your concerns. Anything else, other than soliciting poll workers?
I think we've covered everything, and if there's any questions anybody has, my staff, we're there 8 to 4:30 every day. Feel free to call us, even if it's something you think is silly. It's not silly.
The only bad question is one that doesn't get asked.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So I think that's about all we have for voting right now that I can think of.
Okay. So I know you guys are going to be, up to your ears and work here the next couple weeks.
For sure.
Has DPW finished the project that you and I discussed?
We're working on it.
Oh, you're being too kind. I can tell by the smile. So, Pat, I'll be reaching out to you shortly after the show. Make your voice heard. Make sure you vote. Were we always part of the Super Tuesday primary? Have we always been? We have. All right.
As far back as I can remember.
Yeah, probably my old age creeping in. I can't remember. So, and like we said, if forgetting all this, if you're registered in time, you can vote on Tuesday, March 5th from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And you can see the polling places on the city website, right? So, for example, I'm precinct 9. I vote at the Tenny.
That's correct.
And I love to go to the Tenny.
And also, I just want to make one other point, is some precincts have changed, and so their polling locations have changed. So if a few years ago you voted at the Timothy and you haven't voted since, say, I would just call and double check to make sure you're still in the same precinct and voting at the same location. Because a lot of people have changed, like people that at one time voted at the senior center now go to the Timothy or they go to the Marsh. So some of the precincts have changed. So if you're not sure, call the clerk's office.
Well,
we'll
not
tell
only
you.
that's the location. So we used to have people voting down on Riverside Drive. We don't do that anymore, do we?
Burnham Road, since
Burnham Road. Thank
the pandemic, we couldn't vote there anymore, so that's why we now vote at the senior center.
Senior center, right.
Yeah.
So we get a question. So what if I don't get a card in the mail? It's a great question.
We have applications. We don't have any spare cards because they came from the state. But we have paper applications that we can mail to you. You can come in to fill out, and we can email them to you. Call tomorrow, and we'll handle it for you.
So Greg, call City Clerk's office tomorrow, and they'll handle it, and they'll get you an application for a vote by mail. I want to put the card up one more time because there's something on it that's important that I want to make sure that people see. So if you go up, not that, the card, sorry, MCS, the other side. There it is. So I don't know if you can see it on TV, faintly on the left-hand side. You can see that it was mailed from Boston on January 19th. You can see that this was received at City Hall. I don't know if you can see it as well as we can. It's stamped as it's received. So this was received January 23rd, 2024 at Methuen City Hall. And we stamp all of these, right? And I say that because, with every election, there's always conspiracy theories about, multiple ballots and, people being able to cast multiple votes or city clerks dumping ballots on Ranger Road.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, you knew I was going to say that. They just aren't true, right? So the process is pretty well defined. And again, if you're somebody who would like to participate in the process, we always have the opening for poll workers, and we've adjusted the pay. The pay's gone up,
yes,
right?
It has.
This is the first year.
Yep.
So great information. Again, if you could put the slide up so that we could do the transition. Put up the early voting hours one last time. There you go, leave it there for a couple minutes. So these are the early voting hours again. So again, appreciate you coming on in and talking about vote by mail. And if you didn't get a card, call the city clerk's office and they can get you an application. We talked about what info needs to be filled out on the card, and we talked about what the schedule is for early voting in the presidential primary. And again, leave that slide up while we do the transition. But if you have questions, there's the city clerk's number down there at the bottom. You'll talk to the lovely Andrew, who can help you out. And failing all of that, I shouldn't say failing. If that's not your desire, if your desire is to do the traditional vote, as the mayor's is, then on Tuesday, March 5th, all you need to do is know, where your precinct votes in the city, and sometime between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. you can cast your vote, and that's for the primary. So let's hold this chart here. And Ann, thank you for coming.
Can I just say one more thing?
Please.
I'm sorry. Just everybody out there that has filled out the cards and mailed them back to City Hall, we have not received our ballots yet.
Yeah.
So somebody called today saying, I filled out the card 2 weeks ago. I haven't received my ballot. They haven't come yet.
Okay.
We have to have them by February 1st.
Yep.
From the state. I'm going to think they're going to be coming in tomorrow or Friday.
Yep.
But not guaranteed. So just sit tight. We haven't got the ballots yet, and as soon as the ballots come in, we start mailing them out right away. So do know we do the best I can to get the ballots out as quickly
as possible. Yeah.
And also, one more note, and I'll be off.
That's okay.
We have a drop-off box at City Hall too, Mayor.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to put it in the mail, right behind City Hall, where our regular mailbox is, right next to it is a vote by mail drop-off box.
Yeah.
It's clearly
Don't
marked.
confuse the two, right?
It's right. Clearly marked. You can drop your ballots there, and we check those several times a day.
Yeah. Well, thank you for everything you do for the city, and we appreciate it. There you go. MCS way ahead of me.
Thank you.
We'll probably have you back on another show, maybe after March 5th.
Okay.
Right?
Sounds like a plan.
And now we're going to transition to the second part of the program, where our guest is an individual I said would be coming last week, which is Steve Angelo. I asked for a slide for early voting, and I got the city clerk, which was great. But Steve Angelo is here with us in studio, and we're going to talk about some of the exciting things that are going on. So, I talk a lot about the improved financial position of the city and why it's so important. And one of the reasons it's so important is it allows the city to borrow money at a far better interest rate. And I think you would understand that from personal credit. But, between capital improvement projects and ARPA funds, we've got a lot that's going on. I'm on the hook here, and I'm going to have one of the upcoming shows we're going to talk about how do we form a committee for our 300th anniversary, because our 300th anniversary coincides with the 250 of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So I think lots to celebrate there, but we got a lot of good things going on. So Steve, I'm thrilled to have you on the show. And if we could go into some of the slides that Steve brought, that would be great, because he's got recreation project updates. So I'm anticipating a lot of questions, and here we go. Here we go. Next slide, please. Take it away, Steve.
Okay, perfect. Before we go into this presentation, I do want to thank you, Mr. Mayor, I said, in your administration, along with the City Council, because a lot of these projects would not be possible without the support and you all championing for all these projects.
Appreciate that.
In total, I said, we've invested between last year and this year over $4 million into recreational facilities. I think it's very important for the public to know that there has been a big push, I said, from everyone's what to basically address a lot of these needs. And I want to thank you personally, I said, for these opportunities. We have a lot of great stuff that we have going on that we've recently completed, and a lot of stuff in the pipeline, which I'll be presenting. And I will always welcome everyone if they would like to have questions, or they have any want more details about these projects. They're always welcome to reach out to me in the Parks and Recreation Division, DPW. I said I'm always happy to answer. But
well, it's important for you to understand, and so thank you for that. I appreciate the job you do, because I get a lot of feedback on condition of facilities and stuff, and but never on the programs. So the programs are always highly touted by the parents, right? And certainly since you've become the athletic athletic director, the recreation director. We're doing more and more with our kids. I see more and more for February vacation, multiple options, right? And I'm not going to steal your thunder. There's the Learn to Skate program that operates during the February vacation, but there's also like a Lego
Correct.
project.
Yeah, I said I think there'll be a slide over there later. I said I'll go into a little bit of detail
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that. We're really trying to offer more diverse programming for the
I love
community.
that.
And as we continue to evolve, we've kind of expanded.
Yeah.
And I think people will be very excited when they see our summer list come out.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's something probably they've never seen before.
That's
so we're
terrific.
really trying to broaden what we do from an offering standpoint.
So
for the
great
department.
job to you, increasing the programs, increasing the reach out to the community. It really has been substantial.
Thank you.
So take us through a couple of them, Steve.
All right, so if we go through the slide, the first update that we do have is, so obviously we have the recreational updates for facilities. I said is the tennis court project at the high school. This has been a project that's been talked about for a couple of years now. As it had been in the works in terms of design. I said the idea for this project, I said, is our tennis courts right now are in disrepair, and in order for our high school and our youth groups and everyone to have and I will say the public as well, those courts get used quite a bit.
Yep.
I said, in order to offer them a state-of-the-art facility, I said we had to do some major investments. We have a large issue with, I said, where the courts were technically sinking into the ground, making them unlevel.
Yeah.
So we've been doing some extensive work over the last year, working with GPI, I said, to design a new tennis court, I said, which will allow for improved accessibility, which we do not have right now. I said that's number one priorities for that
That's
facility.
huge. Yep.
I said, complete replacement of the tennis court surfacing. I said we would have basically the tennis courts are going to be completely new.
Yeah.
I said there's not going to be a fence, there's not going to be anything. It's going to be a completely new complex moving forward. I said addition of our first pickleball courts. Since the first day I've stepped foot in the office, I said I get calls probably once every other week asking about if we have city-owned pickleball courts.
Right.
I said hopefully the next slide we'll have the design for it, but I said this will add 6 pickleball courts to that location, and I feel like those pickleball courts will be used a ton throughout. I said throughout the summer, throughout the fall, and there's stories of people even shoveling off the pickleball courts in the winter and utilizing them in the winter. So I said I wouldn't be surprised seeing people out there shoveling.
So, and I want to point out, while it's not, solely, so the ADA access, we've got, as part of mediation of a civil rights complaint that was filed, we've got a public hearing next Monday night, the 29th, at 6:45, where we want the public to come out and hear from the designer. And I say that importantly, the designer, because once we're finished, we've got to go out to RFP, right?
Yep.
And then get somebody in place to do. So this is the time for the public to provide input. So we put ad notices in the paper. It's on the website. We did a press release. We've done, a social media blast, and there will be a reverse 911 call this week that talks about, the hearing on Monday the 29th at 6:45. It's an opportunity for you to come out and see the design in greater detail, and give us your thoughts on what works and what doesn't work. And so I know you've got some preliminary photos with you, right?
I do, yes. I said, and just to add to what you said about this public hearing, I said on Monday, I said this project is being done in conjunction with the school department as well.
Correct.
I said they're actually adding additional accessible parking. I said adding parking spaces for that lot, adding accessibility to the baseball field as well.
Right.
I said it's part of a big project. I said GPI is actually working with the school and with us. We're working in conjunction, almost running it as one project.
Yep.
I said that's why we kind of had a little bit delay with tennis court, because we want to do it right. And
Yep.
we want to make sure that everything's done.
Yeah.
I said uniform to make sure, and when everything's done, it's going to be like a sports complex down there.
Right.
Now. It's going to be totally different.
Well, on the third leg of the
Dynamic.
stool, I'm glad you said you're doing it in conjunction. So the schools are going to redo the parking lot at the same time, right? So, we've looked at a design that puts additional ADA spaces, even as close to the school as the circle where the sign is. There'll be 6 additional ADA parking spaces in that circle right by the front entrance to the school. And that's significant. So once again, Steve, you and the superintendent and this administration committing to correct some of the things that were done incorrectly in the past. And I think, from what I've seen, that the design and the layout is going to be fantastic and provide significant improved accessibility for all citizens, right? For all citizens, especially when you look at the layout of the the ball field and the tennis courts and so the tennis courts and the pickleball courts are going to use additional space than what's currently being used in the complex there. So we're excited about that. It's going to be a huge shot in the arm, and it's something that the city needs. And so, I'm not immune to hearing the complaints that, hey, town XYZ has better, facilities than we do. And while we don't want to make it a competition, I'm going to go back and say, we approached our city from the standpoint of needed to straighten out the finances. Now we're on good grounds with our finances. And, to me, in my last term, it's an opportunity to, identify and improve lots of the things. We had that meeting with the youth leagues and interested adults, parents, and we've got another one coming up, I think,
February 7th.
Yep. Right? So February 7th, we're meeting with the youth leagues and interested parents at City Hall. And if your interest is anything other than, the high school or the tennis courts or pickleball, come on there, because some of what Steve's going to go through here in the next half hour are things that we're going to talk about on the 7th. All right, keep it rolling.
Okay, so if we could throw up the next slide, that'd be great. So this is the layout of what the tennis courts are going to look like.
Right.
It's a totally different concept, as we said before.
Right.
The tennis courts will actually be split up amongst that complex with an ADA accessible walkway being able to connect the two of them.
Right.
With the addition of those 6 pickleball courts. It also adds to a north-south direction for the tennis courts, which is preferred.
Yep.
Currently, right now, it's east to west, which has the solar glare, which impacts the play of the game. That was the whole reason for the redesign
You're going to take away a bunch of excuses, Steve. I didn't see that ball.
Yeah.
It was in the sun, right? So, so you can see, if I'm correct, the first 6 are pickleball.
Correct, yes.
Right?
Yep. I said, and then there'll be seating in between the tennis courts and the pickleball area as well.
Yeah.
So I said people have places to sit in between games. I
Yep.
said as well, and then there'll be an additional 3. And this design was done in conversation with the superintendent, with the athletic director, about what helps to serve the high school's purposes,
Yep.
but also serves the public's purposes as well.
Yeah.
So when we have PE could utilize one section and maybe have another section, I said, available for other type of activities at the same time. It keeps everything kind of separated, as it allows for a lot of different functions within that facility that we don't currently have right now.
Now, how many tennis courts do we have up there now?
We have 9 at the moment.
We do.
I said, from the high school, they said they need a minimum of 6. I said, with the way that we have this layout now, allows them to have 7.
Yeah.
So we only technically lost 2 tennis courts.
Yeah.
But we were able to add 6 pickleball courts in return.
Got it. And the other thing on this that's interesting, and it's probably hard for the viewer to see, is there's a red line that represents the accessible walkway that goes all the way around the ball field to all the tennis courts, to the pickleball courts, to the 3 tennis courts that are out in beyond right field, let me say, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So, if you come to the public hearing on the 29th, this coming Monday, you get an opportunity to see this layout up close and personal. And just remember, this is design, right? Not immune to suggestions and feedback from the constituents, right? We think this is the best layout that works, that provides accessibility for all, but we're open to your feedback and we're willing to listen. So, we get some questions. Steve is the best, capital B-E-S-T. When can we expect upgraded playground equipment for DeGaspie Park? Extremely old equipment there.
So in going back to what I was saying before about the support from the city council and your administration, I said we have been asking it this year. We were granted $500,000 for playground and park renovations, which is said we will go into how some of that money is being allocated this year. But that's in the parts, like DeGaspie is one of those parks that we do want to address moving forward, I said, in terms of addressing playgrounds. And I'm not immune to knowing that we do need to upgrade some of the playgrounds here in the city. I said, and there is a game plan in place to start to replace some of that equipment.
Yeah, and to Nancy's question, some of it's multi-year, because some of it's how much can you get after, how much can you bond in a given year, and given our reduced rate, I want to point out that not only are we addressing fields and playgrounds, but I'm going to keep saying we've got $20 million over the next 5 years in our capital improvement budget to augment our roads and sidewalks, which if you watch city council at all, you know that we are desperately in need of, right? So that's going to help put Methuen on a different trajectory, even though I'll be long gone when the paving finishes. So good news. Teresa Wengerhinkel said, will there be an update to Forest Lake this year?
Correct. There will be an update. I said I'm actually working with some of our state delegates at the moment from some funding sources. I said we do have a couple plans in place for that. So the hope is to have that playground updated, I said, during the summertime.
Excellent. And are we still talking to the Disability Commission about making sure it's...
Correct. So I said, I was lucky enough, I said the disability actually granted us a little bit of money as well for that project.
Excellent.
I said for the ADA compliant surfacing.
Excellent.
As part of that project.
Yep.
So along with that, and along with some of the capital improvement plan money that we have.
Yeah.
I said we should be able to address that project this summer.
You know, Forest Lake, to me, as you know, Steve, is a hidden gem. I don't even know how many people who live in Methuen know about the existence of Forest Lake, right? You have to, it's one of the best kept secrets, and maybe some people want to keep it that way, right? You have to know where it is, kind of, to go there. And, you know, for another show, I think you're aware, we've talked to a mountain biking / trail hiking group that's interested in putting something in what I would call the Methuen Ski Hill.
Correct.
That's how old I am, right? And so that's another, not even on today's program, that's another really exciting option that's being discussed as we speak. All right, Steve, take it away. I'm talking too much.
All right, perfect. So we can move on to the next slide. That'd be wonderful. I said, so a project that we are in the process of finalizing right now, we're about 98% done. I said we just need to paint the basketball court. Is the Gill Ave project. This is a project that was actually started right when I first started here in the city. And it's a very exciting project to basically come to completion this fall. I said, and it allowed for ADA compliant walkways and parking spaces, which we're not currently in the facility. I said, it also brought Methuen's first dog park to the city. That's been something
Campaign promise delivered.
I said, I know that was something the mayor has been asking for a long time.
Yeah.
And the dog park looks terrific. I said, there'll be some pictures on the next slide that we have. And also something that was asked of me when I first came here is people wanted a full-size outdoor basketball court.
Yeah.
This project, I said there was a basketball court down there before. We expanded it, we enhanced it, and it's going to be great. I said, we have a new surfacing coming in. I said, with brand new hoops, and it is a full-size court that
There you go.
be utilized.
Opening spring 2024. Look at that.
And we will be having a grand opening. I said I'll be talking with the mayor as well about setting a date for that.
Yeah.
But we will have a grand opening. As you can see, so we have the dog park with our mulch, the ADA ramps, I said, and the basketball court that's there. The dog park will have a big dog and a small dog section. I said we're connected. There's also a water bubble that's connected over there for people to utilize.
Yep.
And it's just a great addition to that neighborhood.
It is.
As someone that grew up in that neighborhood, I said to be able to invest, I said, and see how people are going to enjoy that park is great.
Yeah, and for people that like to dump their garbage along the Gill, so the Gill Avenue Park in the past has been one of the places. We've got one camera there. There'll be a second one there shortly. I'm just alerting you because if you dump your trash there, we're going to get your license plate, and we're going to you'll be hearing from Methuen PD. So beautiful job on the Gill Avenue Park. And who did the work on the park, Steve? Who was the developer that did the? Do you remember?
So Chris Huntress was the one that engineered, and then Belco Landscaping was the one who came in and actually did all the work.
Job.
They did a wonderful job.
Yeah.
They were terrific to work with, I said, and they really went above and beyond.
The other question I'll be asked is, will the splash pad still be there?
The splash pad is still there.
Yeah.
I said in the walkway, I said we actually extended the walkway from where it was before to connect. So I said the ADA compliance for the walkway has actually been enhanced as well.
Yeah. All right, we're getting lots of questions. Teresa's working out she missed last week. So are we still going to do a 4th of July celebration of Methuen Day this year?
Yes,
you
we
betcha.
will. We will.
We're going to do July 8th, right?
July 8th, I said we are officially in for the Saturday after the 4th of July.
Yeah.
I said it's worked out great for our
community. I
community.
don't know if that's the 8th, but yeah.
I said it's worked out great for our community the last couple of years. I said participation and attendance has skyrocketed since we started doing it.
Yep.
I said we had probably well over 10,000 people there, even though the weather wasn't even that great last year.
Yeah.
We still had a great turnout for it.
Yeah.
And it just really works for the community. And I said, I'm excited. We'll be kind of locking down those details with the fireworks company pretty soon.
Yeah.
But you can lock that in the Saturday after the 4th of July will be the fireworks.
It seems to be a benefit to doing it after, even from the fireworks company, to your point, right? I mean, the shows the last couple of years have been spectacular.
Correct.
I mean, spectacular. Okay. So Teresa said Steve is a great recreational director.
Thank you, Teresa.
Got another, so are you going to do a splash pad this year? I already answered that. Are you going to do seasonal passes for Forest Lake this year? I like that you're asking that on January 24th, Teresa. It's a little chilly out there. Will there be day passes as well? Do you know pricing yet?
Yep, so pricing will stay the same this year as it has in the past. Seasonal passes.
Stays the same.
Yep, seasonal passes will be $50 for
Yeah.
the season pass, and it's $10 per day
Yeah.
per car that comes into the facility.
Yeah.
I said you do have to be a Methuen resident to attend Forest Lake.
Yep.
So I said you will be asked for your car registration or a bill or anything with your license, as you just because it is a Methuen only resident beach.
Yeah. I think it's important for the public to understand what a good job you do managing it, because the recreation programs, they fund the other programs, right?
Correct.
So like the July 8th thing, the July 8th celebration, which is a significant milestone for the city and for rec, is funded by other things that we do. So, we have people all the time saying, oh, can I participate free? There's a relatively affordable cost assigned to most of these programs, and part of it is to fund other initiatives, that we do in the city, so that we're not doing it off the back of the taxpayer per se.
Correct.
You're funding. So that July 8th, I shouldn't say the 8th, whatever the Saturday after July 4th.
The fireworks celebration.
Yeah,
Yep.
the fireworks celebration is funded by other rec programs, and that's significant. And I want to give you kudos for that, because each year the program itself has grown and has gotten better and better, right? And that kudos to you for that. But pricing stays the same. Can you believe that? In this environment, pricing stays the same. Good job. All right, so out of the questions, back to you.
All right, terrific. So we're going to move on from the Gill Ave project. The next project that we have coming up right now, I said that we will be starting this spring. It was actually a project that I'm really excited for. I said is the LED lighting conversion. I said, and this is hopefully going to be part of a 2-year project. I said that we're going to be working on. We're addressing a couple field needs. In the past year to two, I said probably well before my time, we've been having issues with lights down at Burnham Road and Veterans Park.
Staying on, yeah.
I said staying on, not turning on. I
Yeah.
said, and we've had colonies of mice who have eaten through wires.
Oh, yeah.
We've had a lot of
Yeah.
extenuating circumstances which have
Yeah.
held us, and it's impacted our athletic groups.
Yep.
And I've heard the complaints. I said I've heard the concerns, safety concerns. I said, and the LED light, I said, will allow for us to be able to help. I said it's going to improve the safety for everyone, which
Yep.
is obviously the most important
I know
aspect
that
of
not only
everything.
will the high school be glad to hear that, but Methuen girls softball will be
Correct.
thrilled
Yep.
to hear,
I
right?
said,
So-
and I said it's a project that's long overdue. It will also end up saving us over 60%.
Yeah.
I said in terms of fees for just energy alone. I said
Yeah.
obviously sustainability is huge here in the city, and it will allow for us that.
Yeah.
It also allows for more efficient scheduling, and it will have a mitigated impact on the surrounding neighborhoods.
Yeah.
A lot of our parks are in neighborhoods, and with this, the direction of the lighting, I said, well, we won't have what they call as light pollution.
Yeah.
That will impact as much of the houses around in that area. And it will also allow for my department, I said, to be able to manage the lights via my phone or via my
Yep.
iPad, or along with the youth groups as well. So when practices are over, they'll turn on.
Yeah.
Right now, they're on timers.
Yeah.
They're on till 11 o'clock at night because
Yeah.
we don't know when practices and stuff are
Yeah.
end. We'll be able to schedule those in advance, knowing that people will be off the field at 8:30.
Yeah.
We won't have that energy waste to have lights
That's
on for 2
great.
hours when those
Yeah,
fields
that's
aren't going to
great.
be gone. We'll
Yeah.
be able to really be able to, and it's just going to be a better product. It's going to be better lighting. It's just going to give
Sure.
the kids that utilize these fields a much
Yep.
better experience when they use the
Yep.
fields.
And that's is important. The price of electricity isn't getting cheaper, as most of our residents know, right? So controlling costs where you can via applications like that are extremely important. And I forget, pardon me for putting you on the spot, I want to be able to do at some point here in the next couple of years the lower field at the high school too,
Correct.
right next to the
Yep.
stadium.
That will be on my capital request this year. I can promise you that. I said I'm working
Good.
with Musco, who's
Good.
helping us do these projects this year.
Yeah.
I said with doing the LED conversion at the stadium itself and adding those lights to the lower turf,
Yeah.
because adding those lights to the lower turf
Yeah.
totally changes the whole operations of that facility. I said
It does.
Our youth groups are terrific. I said and they're very good to work with, but they continue to grow as the city
Right.
grows. I said
Right.
youth groups, because they are so successful and they run by some great people.
Yeah.
Their numbers continue to evolve. Field
Yeah.
space is at a premium. Adding lights down there opens it up for quite
does.
a bit. I said
It
for
absolutely
those
does.
youth groups.
Well, and I mentioned this, I think, on a previous show, that lacrosse has kind of eaten into baseball a
They're
lot.
booming.
Right?
Baseball numbers have also gone up. I said over the last couple
Have
of years
they?
as well. Yep.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yep. I said lacrosse is definitely a growing sport across
Yeah.
the country right now.
Yeah. What happened to the Christmas tree from 2023? Did it fall down? I hope this year we can have a Christmas tree event. So I'm going to answer that for Steve. So that was a difficult situation. We ended up scheduling 2 events. And then right before the second event anyways, we had that horrific rain wind event that snapped the tree in half. So we did have a 40-foot tree. We do have pictures of it. You can see that it was up at the loop. You know, I would love to see, you know, us partner with the loop and get, you know, and not for the next couple of years, but to get, you know, plant some trees there so to be more sustainable over time. But, you know, in the interim, we'll be reaching out again for a tree this year. And the last 2 years, I'll be honest with you, Teresa, we had spectacular trees. And this tree was spectacular. The one thing they both had in common was the year before this, the Angel flew. Yep. I don't know if you remember that, for the wind, just before we had the event. Right. But we were able to get the event in. This year, the weather did not cooperate.
Mother Nature was not our friend this year.
Right, it was not. We did get the Santa Parade in. We were not able to get in the tree lighting in. And I'll be honest with you, I was as disappointed as you, because that's one of my favorite events of the year.
I as well.
Right? So we're going to do everything in our power to coerce Mother Nature to give us a little bit of weather next year and kind of help us get through the whole process. Let me see if how did Steve decide? How did Steve decide to do a recreational director's job? He's very good. She really likes you.
Is that Teresa again?
How did you decide?
That's a terrific
From
question.
From a career perspective, yeah.
From a career perspective, well, I started off in college athletics. That's where my career started. I actually have my Wheat Lions shirt on today. And then an opportunity came up in the town of Stoneham. I said they did not have a recreation department there before. My background was facility management and recreation programming.
Yep.
I said, and the opportunity just kind of opened up that they wanted someone who, I guess, basically had all the different resumes that I had on my. I said, it opened up. I built that program from the ground up. There was nothing there before.
Yeah.
I said, and then when the job opened up in Methuen, I was ecstatic. I said that I was able to try to come home.
Yeah.
I said, and be able to help my hometown.
I like that you said come home. That was a good thing. Yeah.
To try to help out the city that I grew up in.
Yep.
I said, give back.
Yep. So the you know, getting you into the city, and I want to say this, has been a terrific thing, right? And Bill Perry did a great job, don't get me wrong. But we've put it on steroids since you took over, and the number of programs you're offering is far increased, and that's great because it allows kids, and you know, I hate to keep, you know, I saw that Lego thing advertised, and I know you're going to do it again here in a minute, and I said, what a great idea, because not everybody is into the, you know, let's go do flag football. Yep. Let's go do, right? We need opportunities for children that are artful and creative as well, right? And so kudos to you for thinking of that. Greg has a question. Oh, Teresa's hammering away. And I want to say one thing before I forget. So in a city of 53,000, which Methuen now is, and 27 square miles with lots of recreational facilities, you know, we staff it with 2 recreation individuals who work as part of DPW, right? And I'm going to say this, and I know I'll get shellac for it. I would dearly love to have a 3rd head in recreation, as you know, because there is enough work for those individuals. But that has to be something that we balance out between the impact on the taxpayer and what we're trying to do. So when we look at the FY25 budget, we're going to take a long, hard look. You do have a new assistant, right? Bill Manzi moved on.
Billy Manzi moved on to the cemetery, so Corey Wheeler's stepped in his shoes. I said he's been doing a terrific job. I said we're very lucky to have him. Corey actually helped out with a lot of our playground programs throughout the summers. He also worked up at Forest Lake. So he just graduated college. He was looking for an opportunity. I said it's just a perfect fit. And Billy really hasn't gone very far. I said Billy's still up here. And he's been a huge help with Corey as well.
He's a great guy.
To onboard him.
Yeah, I like how you said that, though. Billy's moved on to the cemeteries, right? So let's see. Is there any way you can slow the Santa Parade down? The distance are too close together, and they run right by. Greg, I agree with you. I got to be honest with you, though. Attendance was a little sparse this year, and I think part of it was due to we once again had a forecast for inclement weather that didn't materialize, thank God. We're able to do it. But I like your suggestion. We can do that. Maybe we need to bring back Jiddu Mak.
I said I'll take that one on the chin. It was my first year pacing the parade, so I'll take that one on the chin.
And, no, it's not your fault. I mean, part of it is, whether you're the politicians like myself walking, you walk right up to the people behind you, right? And I think there has to be some staging so that, people can better appreciate it. The other thing is that each of the bands should be afforded the opportunity to, play music, right? It's just like watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. We got a number of bands, including our very own Methuen High School Ranger Marching Band in the Santa Parade, and they do a great job with the music part of it, right? So appreciate that feedback, Greg, and we will take a look at that. Will Forest Lake have swim lessons this summer for children? Teresa's on a
so it's something we could definitely look into. I said we have not had it in the last few years. I said COVID was something that I said kind of put those in, and the demand really hasn't been there since I've. It's something if there is an interest in it and people are interested in offering that. I said we do have our certified lifeguards who are down at the lake every single day. It's something we could definitely bring back if there is an interest from the community. Yeah,
and then our last question is: will there be any recreational tickets offered this year for some local sports events? I bought tickets once for the Lowell Spinners, right? I don't know if the Spinners aren't there anymore.
The Spinners aren't there anymore. No, I said, so there are some partnerships I said we could look into in the summer. It's not something we've done in terms of like field trips or anything because I said we do have some great job with the Ranger Club, does a whole lot of stuff here in the city as well. I said there's a lot of different organizations who are already doing some great stuff, so it's probably trying to duplicate what they're already doing. We try to add to it and add, that's why I said with our diverse programming to basically offer stuff that isn't already being offered in the city. So that's kind of the niche that we've tried to find.
We got 9 minutes left, and you got a couple slides.
Good thing I talk fast.
Yeah, I know. You're the right guest to have on this program. Go ahead.
Okay. So the next project that we have going on, I said it kind of is alluded to the LED lighting. I said is the renovations that we're going to have at the Francis Moore Park Field 3. Francis Moore Park is actually on Burnham Road, so it's our major softball complex here in the city. This is also the varsity field for our high school athletic field. I said anyone who's been down there during the spring and sees the rain, it almost becomes a lake down there. I said it's been an ongoing issue since I was a kid. I said, and this project has been long talked about. It is in the final planning processes right now with an RFP that's hopefully going out, I said, within the next month, with the expectation that we will break ground this summer on that.
Excellent.
So we'll go through the spring season with the expectation once our tournaments are done for our girls softball league. I said we'll break ground to this. It'll include new drainage for the field, which is absolutely necessary, new infield surfacing, new irrigation. I said it'll also expand the dugouts and the bullpens. I said we'll have bigger dugouts for the teams. We'll also have enclosed bullpens. And I said it will also have enclosed fencing. Right now there's no outfield fence that you can't hit a home run there. It's going to enclose the entire field.
I know that's important to the high school, right?
So. That is very important to the high school. I said these plans were done with Matt Curran and Jay Smith as the high school softball coach as well. We sat down with that engineer. So we got all at the same table to find out what the goals were for this project to make sure we adhere to those.
Great, super.
And I think the next slide might actually be the renderings for them. So basically, this is obviously the construction documents here. I said the page 3 for this document, I said would have been, I said is basically a layout. We're bumping the field 20 feet up. So behind the backstop now is going to be an ADA compliant walkway with what is considered a sitting wall. So it's going to be a 2-foot wall so spectators can sit on the wall. As opposed if they want to go into the bleachers, there's going to be a sitting wall there so people can watch from behind the dugout, so from behind where the backstop is now. And it's aesthetically going to look very nice. It's a really nice looking field that we're going to be having. I said, and we'll have the new lights down there. It's going to look like a totally different stadium. It's going to be a stadium type feel for our high school and for our girls softball league.
It's funny, we struggled so much, as you know, this past summer with fields, because we were in drought-like conditions. And then the fall came, and the heavens opened up. And I drove by, I drove by again today, but I drive by Pelham Street, and I look at the difference in mid-August Pelham Street Field to like end of October Pelham Street Field. It was like night and day. I mean, it was like, and I know Mark Jordan and the crew did a lot of work there, but much better look and feel.
I said we're very lucky to have our DPW staff. I said whether it be the stadium crew that we have and Mark Jordan, I said we work very closely together. I said they worked very hard in those fields. I said, and as we'll go into some stuff a little bit later, I said the next thing in the capital improvement plan is we're also investing on giving them the tools to be able to maintain these fields as well.
So go ahead.
That was really one of the big I said, advocates, I said, if we're going to be investing money in the fields, I want to make sure that we're enabling them and we're giving them the right tools to be able to maintain and protect our investments.
Absolutely.
The biggest one with that was we just purchased, I said, we'll actually go in front of the city council on the next city council meeting.
Yep.
I said, it's a new tractor, which will allow for us to plow the turf fields, which we've never been able to do before.
Correct.
So if we get heavy snow, we'll be able to clear the snow off of the turf. I said, it's also a new groomer for all of our baseball fields and a new seeder. I said, it's basically going to give us all the compactions. The tractors that they've been using now are both older than I am.
Yep.
I said, one's from 1979, one's from 1984. We're going to start giving them the right equipment to be able to use.
As old as the mayor, yeah.
Said,
So I hope you're going to bring these charts to the February 7th meeting.
These will be expanded for that February 7th meeting.
All right.
I said next is improvements to the lower concession stand. The Nicholson Stadium is also known as Pop Corner Hut by a lot of people.
Yep.
We're going to be improving those bathrooms, making those ADA compliant, and allowing for those to be accessible through the fields throughout the day as well.
Yeah.
I said right now, I said they're not accessible, so people can use the track. We'll have bathrooms to utilize. I said we'll be able to have them for the lower turf. I said we'll also put a new roof, which we need on there. I said Nicholson Stadium audio system. I was really excited to have this. I said added to CIP this year because anyone who's been at graduation at games the last few years, I said the system's been basically failing on us. I said I don't know whether it's becoming a little outdated. Or I said we actually had the vendor in this morning giving us pricing for it. That is going to be expected to be updated completely for the spring season.
Super.
So I said we'll have new microphones. I said we'll also have sectionized. I said sound. What we've heard from complaints from the neighborhood recently is there's been sound pollution, as they would call it, impacting people in the morning. I said we're working on it when we're playing music and stuff, what those groups are doing. But this will allow us to utilize what speakers are actually giving off sound at certain times as well.
Super.
So we'll actually be able to direct the sound so it doesn't impact the neighborhood as much.
I'm
as it
still
has in
thinking
the
back,
past.
I'm thinking back, and you probably remember this. There was a football game this fall where, I'm trying to remember, the referee or somebody working with him on the sidelines took his microphone and put it down.
He had a hot mic on,
Yeah, he had a hot mic. And so that mic was broadcasting, and parents couldn't hear, the band. And there was a big...
And coming from the conversation this morning that we have to know, I said that those microphones now, they said that we're going to be adding to that, are going to be push buttons. So they can only go live when they're pushed, when the referee uses it. It's not going to be an on and off switch. I said, so that problem should never happen because I know the band was very upset because it did impact them and I felt horrible about it. I said, and it was an honest mistake, but we're actually putting in those fail safes now to make sure that mistake never happens ever again.
Great thing. Back to that slide if you could.
The last is the replacement of the outdoor rink at Veterans Park. This has been a conversation I've had with your office quite a bit. I said, that rink is going to be coming down this spring, I said, in terms of putting a new structure in. There'll be conversations about what is going to replace that. I said, it's going to come down to what's available left in the CIP.
I throw that out to the residents, to talk to you, to talk to me. So what would you like to see there?
Correct. Right? It's a great, I said, Veterans Park is a great facility. I said, it is utilized quite a bit by walkers, people that aren't just playing baseball. It's probably one of our most utilized and active recreational areas we have in the city. If you have feedback on what you'd like to see there, let me know. I said, all of my information is available on the Methuen Rec website, methuen.rec.com. I said, you can reach out. We do have some preliminary ideas, but I said, we're always open to the suggestions.
So Teresa's got one more question. Some communities, I'll leave you this one. Some communities offer bus trips to Nantucket for a fee. Do you think Methuen Recreation will do this? If you do, can you tell the mayor? Because I'd like to go to Nantucket. So.
And I do want to start to expand on some of our adult programming. I said if we're lucky enough to add an extra person into the office, those possibilities are very possible. I said it is something that we have to look to do in the past. I said, and anything is, as long as we can feasibly do it, we're open to doing anything.
All right. We got the coming events coming up. I'll let you do them because they're all your things, right?
So coming events real quick, I said, I think I got 2 minutes left and I can run through them real quick. We have public skating on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday during February vacation. It's $5 per skater, $10 per, I said, if you need to rent skates, that is from 12 to 1:30. The Methuen Police Department has promised and said they will be back with the skater club program for one of those days during February vacation. We'll probably solidify that. We're hoping to have a special guest for that as well. I said, February Vacation Basketball Clinic, which is one of our biggest clinics of the year. Registration is open. I said that is going to be over at the CGS this year. I said you can do full week or daily drop-in. I said Sports on 101, a very popular program for us as well. We'll be running the full week. I said for grades K through 5. I said that runs Tuesday through Friday as well. I said during vacation week. I said February Vacation Flag Football Clinic, new program for us. It's basically a warm-up. I said spring flag football for us is a huge program.
Huge.
This is a great way for us to,
Yeah.
for kids to kind of get some training in. If you've never done flag football, to kind of learn a little bit more about the
Yeah.
sport before we go into the season. And then the last is February Vacation Lego Masters. I'm going to have to update that slide because as of this morning, that program sold out.
Yeah.
But as I said, we are happy to announce that we're actually going to be offering that program on Thursday and Friday as well. So we're starting up a whole new
Got it.
program because of the demand. So that
Yeah,
Tuesday and Thursday dates.
Are you limited to the number in the Lego Masters, like something like that? I would assume there's only so many that can participate.
I said there's only so many, so I said it depends on the amount of kits and stuff we
Yeah.
have because it is an itinerized program.
Yeah.
I said so we do have a certain number,
Yeah.
but because we hit that threshold, we have Thursday and Friday that were still available.
Yeah.
We're going to offer that program again during those dates because of
Excellent.
the overwhelming demand.
Next slide.
The Skate and Read program is a great program from Jay Atkinson that he runs.
Yeah.
I said it is a great opportunity for people who have never played hockey before to learn about hockey, people who play hockey who want to get more ice time.
Yeah.
You won't find a better deal
Yeah.
on getting them as
Yeah.
much ice time as you will for this. And you have some great instructors who are teaching you how to do it. I
Just
said
to be
it's not
clear,
a-
you're not reading while you're skating, though, right?
you are not reading while you skate, but it's a great partnership we have with the
Yeah.
library. They
Yeah.
come down with books. The kids, I said, get to read. I said, and that's going to start up in March. We'll actually have our kickoff during February vacation on President's Day.
Yeah.
I said, and all that information can be found on MethuenRec.com.
Yep. Go ahead.
So like I said, we have some great youth organizations. The Boy Scouts of America
Yeah.
have a lot of their information. I said we've been able to update that. I recommend, I said, any of these programs, you contact those programs directly. I
Yeah.
said they'll be able to get you the most
And
answers.
they do great jobs across the city with cleanups and other,
Yep,
projects.
they do
so.
stuff at Forest Lake all the
They
time
do.
for us. And they
Yeah.
do a lot of great programs.
Super.
I said,
Yep.
so
Next.
the Boy Scouts
Just-
troop as well. I said, and once they have all their contact information. A lot of that information is also available on our website.
Yeah.
So if you can't find it online, if you go to the Methuen Rec page, we do have links to a lot of these
Yeah,
organizations.
Bill Cochran, he's the real deal. So
Methuen Lacrosse, I said they do a terrific job as well. I said
I'm
them as a goal.
blown away how much this has grown.
It's been great. And I said it's
Yeah.
a testament to the great leadership they have, the great coaches that they have, and just the growth of the sport as general.
Yeah.
But it's a very well-run organization. I said their registration right now for the spring season is open.
Yeah.
I said I recommend anyone who wants to go there to contact Methuen Youth Lacrosse as well. I said all their contact information is on that. I said we also we try to post all the stuff on our social media page as well to help get it out. But if anyone has questions, I said we'll continue to go through these slides. But if anyone has questions about the youth organizations,
Yeah.
they're also welcome to reach out to my office. I can get you in contact with anyone as well. I said I can
Yep.
kind of serve as that. I said talk it through. I said, but we also have Methuen Youth Soccer. Their spring registration is opened up. It ends on March 1st. I said, and registration for 3 through 12 ends February 1st, which is right around the corner. So anyone
It
who's
is.
interested, I said in soccer, I said through grades 3 through 12, should really look into signing up for that now.
Yeah.
Because I know that said once that deadline comes, they start to formulate teams, and it's very difficult to add on after that. I said,
Yep.
Michelle
Michelle
and her crew,
Cushman,
I said
she's
they do
another-
a terrific job.
Yeah.
I said they're always able to go.
Terrific,
I said,
yep.
but I said they do have a ton of people. I said everyone's hunting for field time and trying to get their schedules together.
Yep.
So I said I would reach out to Michelle.
We
I
even
said,
put you under the gun here with the time, yeah.
because I'm talking faster than I
Yeah,
normally do.
yeah.
I said, Methuen Youth Baseball, their spring registration is now open. I said, and you can also get their apparel. I said, so if you go to Methuen Youth Baseball, also all their registration, I think that they have, I said, their skills clinic and stuff. I would say their skills assessment and tryouts are going to be starting soon. So I
Yeah.
said I would actually be looking out for them.
Cool.
I said the same thing as well. I said it's not on there, but Methuen Girls Softball will also be doing skills assessment coming up. So
Yeah.
I do recommend that you go to their website
Yeah.
to get more information for that.
Excellent. You did a great job. Take a deep breath. Great having you on.
Thank you,
Like
Matt.
I said, great job on the programs. Just a reminder, Monday night, a public hearing. Steve will be there. I will be there. And we'll have the designer there as well to answer questions if you have them. But, come out and get involved in some of these fantastic programs that Steve and the rec department are doing. Because, without you, it doesn't happen. And, we're committed, like I said, to the infrastructure. And, I do, at some point, Steve, I want to talk to you about for the 300th birthday. I would love to, we have the need for additional field space, as you know.
Correct.
And I'd like to start talking about where could we do that? What's the right place to do that for the city's 300th birthday, right? So,
And then I'll throw that back on the public as well. If you have ideas for potential locations
Please.
as well,
Yeah,
I said
please.
feel free to reach out to us. I said I'm
Yeah.
always happy to get the feedback from the community on ideas that we can have to
Yeah.
enhance our facilities.
appreciate that. Well, thanks for coming on the show today. Great job. To the viewers, We're back here again next week with another exciting guest. Meantime, this is the mayor wishing you all good health and God bless. And we'll see you back here on Mayor's Minutes next week.